games, you've got all most of Iran's equipment and then their proxy armies. And you've got all your industry, and capital, you have the richest country in the world, it's falling apart. You should just shut off and go quiet and hope everybody moves on. We know you're not going to do it. You're going to false flag and play victim. You're going to demonize your little officers, continue to hold Congress, continue to primary people. You're going to continue to go around and terrorize everybody with the ADL and some of the police. And it's going to end in total disaster. At least a horrible recall war. All the Muslims turning against you. The world's already turned against you. And the Islamics attacking you. And you have somehow taken the Islamics, these people, the most unpopular people in the world, and turned them into victims. What a spectacular job you've done. You know, Israel prides itself on thinking long term. Well, you've not been thinking long term. Or second, third, fourth, fifth order effect. Because if you did, you listened to all the former Mossad chiefs who were living, and almost every former general, they've all gone public for over a year saying that now who's going to trigger a giant war of minutes between you. So for all of you Israel worshippers, Christian Zionists, and low-grade Zion Zionists, and all the rest of you idiots, if I really had it out for the Jews, and I really wore secret Hitler underwear, I would be evidence on my now for doing a great job. The point said they were interrupted. Enemy was making a mistake. Well, I'm not your damn enemy. I am enemy of your psychotic leaders that are out of the month. And you tell her that if they don't keep the war going, they're going to prison. Now, let me know hostage by Cindy Beer and that guy. You like being held hostage by him? You got Stockholm Syndrome? You just go from be mentally ill over there. So get out of our way. Stop trying to run our lives. Stop trying to censor us. This is not a fight that's good for anybody. We have big problems. The Islamics, the Chicons, the globalists, the megabanks, the huge population issues. If we do the best job we can, and humanity tries to work together, we got the rocks and road ahead. With all this crap going on, Israel throwing itself in the middle of this, ignoring everything else going on in the world, making it all about you, and having real estate advertisements with Ben Gvir about how you're going to move the Jews into southern Lebanon, how you carpet bomb the Christians. I mean, my God, we're committing war crimes. And it's all coming out. And if you think we're going to sit here and have you do this in one night, you got another thing coming. So, stop it now. Off. Accelerate. Anybody named chicken with you, go want to play chicken with you. I'm locked in this car. Go control the steering wheel, you know, 20 miles an hour straight at your ass. You have the steering wheel. You're in control of Congress. Turn off the accelerator. Pull off the side. Back it off. You can go to the local gas station and have ice cream together. It's too much fun, all the infinity, and the center of the universe. And I mean, the whole world is just funny. You're the villains posing as the savior. This is a disaster. We're already in a disaster. And I can play you always do clips of Uncle Senator whoever you are. You don't think I don't know that. Well, why doesn't the Israel lobby team up and help the West kick all these people out? Oh no, you're involved green. And now, proposed 2 years ago when we're done with shipping millions of them to the United States. How about we put them here? You want to dump those things in our house? Yeah, you treat us like garbage. You should be kissing America's ass for bailing you out over and over and over again. You've destroyed yourself. You've taken us and those of us that actually trying to stop all this because we want stability and freedom, we would advise And you think demonizing Muslims is the way? People are not deep. That's not practical. Really practical. The whole methodology of the global awakening is it the age, is it the world, is it transhumanism? That is not the way. People running up to global government tyranny like baby ducks and imprint. First thing you see, everybody's imprinting on you are the devil. That's great. You're innocent, get persecuted more than they all Jews get all the Zionists around confused with some of the basically a total power. They control the United States. We'll come out on top of this global conflict. Yes, I know your plan. It's public. It's crazy. It's not going to work. You understand it's a tip that Israel most military intelligence has completely blown up in your face across the same range to political, right? You're the Pentagon chief right now, right? You understand that? I'm going to stop lecturing Israel. Israel's leaders first. The FBI or Bullhorn talking to bank robbers to go, honestly, the same. You're in a lot of trouble. You want to spend 20 years in prison, or you want to have a SWAT team come in? And even if you survive or end up on death row in a supermax. Come on, come on out. Come on, put the gun down. Come on, Benjamin. Please, use your head. But you look at Schmoley and you look at Benjamin. You think those lunatics? I mean, look at these guys. They love it. This is the most exciting thing in the world. Benjamin just came out and said, we need to take all the women and children, including Christians in Lebanon, kidnap their women and children until they surrender. And the Christians are stuck between Israel and Iran. And Israel's just carpet bombing them. That's what they do in Gaza in the West Bank. They grab people's kids, their wives, drag them off to these dungeons where they get raped, killed, and everybody knows about it. I mean, look at this guy. Look at him. I mean, every time you look at him, he looks like he's on 5 hits of ecstasy. While he's like beating up refugees and beating up detainees himself personally. He goes to the dungeons and tortures people himself. I mean, he's a complete psychotic. This guy's gonna get us all killed. I'll come out with all the clips on this, finish up with another topics. This is big news.
Hi, folks. I'm Dr. Bigley. Today's presentation will be about methylene blue and you.
Freud and I can call
Who can cure on the Alex?
But Israel, Iran.
Look,
What the fuck?
potato hoops. Watch. The communism is slowly leaving the body.
Wow, the methylene blue cures the red right eye.
So, how do you feel?
Gee, Doc, I don't know what got into me. I feel like $1 million now. Say, where can I get some more of that blue stuff in case I become retarded again?
You can find it on the AlexJonesStore.com.
What does .com mean?
There is a public global plan to bring in world government and slowly but surely exterminate at least 80% of the world population. This broadcast, myself and my crew, are on TV mapping and firmly stand against this dehumanization. Join us at $5.showslive.com. Be the Paul Revere you were born to be. Share that. URL, AlexJonesLive.com. All the audio and video feeds free. The articles, the reports, the bad guys don't allow. And boost them. Paul Revere them now. AlexJonesLive.com. Get the free app on Android or app right now. With all the video and audio feeds, news feeds, everything at AlexJonesApp.com. Android and iPhone. All right. Let me just finish up with this situation. And I'm going to give the number out. We'll take like 5 or 6 calls. And then, like I said, we'll talk geopolitics and more. With Victor Buddha joins us most Tuesdays. And then we'll take calls for him on that. But right now we're taking calls on the geopolitical lay of the land. Clearly going for an exit ramp. That's a good thing. We should continue to praise him when he does that. Criticize him when he goes off that. What do you make of this? What do you make of him now officially giving Axios information that he's done with the war, that if Israel continues to attack Lebanon and other areas to keep Iran engaged, that he's going to still do the peace deal and, quote, leave Israel on its own? That's a big deal. We'll put the number on screen. for you to join us, be able to just take 5 or 6 calls here and clear the phone systems and have fresh calls for Boot. You'll be welcome to call in for that. We're taking first-time callers right now. It'll be free for all in the third hour today. 512-266-0642. 512-266-0642. That's 512-266-0642. If you're outside the U.S., just put in the country code at 512-266-0642. All right, so here is the reports. Trump claims Iran peace deal imminent for 38th time as promised breakthrough fails to materialize. It's actually 40 plus times. But this is different this time, as I said 2 weeks ago, because he's the one leaking the information. He's the one going after Netanyahu. And I've talked to military sources. They told that Trump is indeed disengaging because he knows it didn't work like Israel said it would. Israel and Iran nearly pulled Trump back into war. He's anxious to end. Axios gets that right. Iran is also being belligerent and jumping to get into the war as soon as possible. And they also confirmed not just what Trump told Axios, but they talked to Israelis who confirmed this indeed all did happen. To see the incredible access Axios has. And here's some of the transcript of what he said. This is what Trump told Axios. I said, Bibi, you better be careful or you'll be on your own very soon. He went on to say he is ending the war very, very soon. And it goes on from there. So that's good movement in the right direction. Trump just told Netanyahu on the record that if he restarts the Iran war, he can fight without America. In an interview with Axios, the president said he delivered the warning after Israel's Sunday strike on Beirut set off the weekend's dangerous missile exchange with Iran. His own words to Israeli insider Bibi, you better be careful or you'll be on your own soon. This is about as direct as it gets. Trump is signaling he will not be dragged back into the war he wants out of, and that Israel's protection is not unconditional. Netanyahu keeps lighting fuses like he did 100 plus days ago, dragging us in by striking. But every strike crossed the exact Iran line they warned about and would reignite everything, but Trump answered by aiming the threat at his own ally instead. That's what Axios reported. Meanwhile, neocon Mark Levin freaks out over Trump throwing Netanyahu under the bus. You can read his post on X. There's a bunch of them. Why are we turning on Israel and Netanyahu tonight? Why is the president turning on him? What's happened here? Turning on him is completely out of his mind. It's a dead end, dummy. He's always saying, I don't really understand the military, but I believe in our troops. We can defeat them. We dropped 25,000 bombs on them. Well, we dropped 7.6 million on the Vietnamese. How'd that work out, Mark? They frustrated our moves, Mark. Doesn't work that way, Mark. Idiot. So, by the way, I've talked to a lot of these big Republican pundits. Never talked to Mark Levin, but I've followed him for 30-something years, and I've talked to a lot of the other big ones, the speechwriters, you name it. These so-called geopolitical experts, you talk to them, they don't understand anything. Because how many people are in Iran? I don't know, I don't care. How big is Iran? I don't know anything about that. Well, it's 3 times the size, and it's 3 times the people, 95 million people.
The judge as well.
Assessments of the war and regime change. It's not going to work. Tucker, all I know is, what he said, all I know is we got to take them out. Okay. But a big part of this control has been saying, oh, Iran's got missiles in the U.S., surface to air, they're going to kill you, sir. Oh, they're trying to assassinate you. And having the CIA go out and hire, idiots thought they were working for Iran, really they're working for the CIA. That's all come out over and over again. Tucker Carlson, bombshell. Ken Silva says Susie Wiles, chief of staff, and Sean Curran helped run a psychological operation on Trump. They reportedly convinced him Iran had smuggled missiles into America. I said this back at the time. And they put him in a decoy plane before his foreign policy flipped. Yeah, that's all the stuff they've been doing during the campaign and after to create this fear and then to get Trump to go after Iran. Let's go ahead and go to that clip.
Especially considering what happened after. Trump gets effortlessly elected and then becomes this crazy neocon. He becomes the one thing he said he hated. There's a total change in Trump.
It's hilarious, but I'm looking at the fuck like that. Yeah. Unless it's intersexual, that's not what the fuck I mean. Yeah.
is worth mentioning that Susie Wiles and Sean Curran were both involved in what I would argue like a psyop on Trump to make him think the Iranians were out to get him. And this is after the Ryan Ruth event. They actually tell Trump that the Iranians have smuggled missiles into the country and they want to shoot down your plane. So there's absolutely no evidence for that. I mean, no actual documentation, no witnesses, no arrests are made. If that were true, the war would have started a lot earlier. But in any event, they actually put Trump on the decoy plane they used Steve Witkoff's plane, and Ken Witkoff and Susie Wiles was inside him. All the staff were serving as just decoys on Trump Force One, which I'm not sure how they would feel about that. But I mean, it's pretty crazy. Like, if you look at the reporting on this, the staff would be going to Trump Force One, and the Secret Service would be like, "Oh, keep your head down," and like acting like that was out there. Like, it would really seem like a total psyop to me. It's all
Tory to this group, of course.
I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, you can make the argument that Trump was already in the talk. This certainly didn't help.
You can make the argument that Trump was in favor of a regime change for the weapons and he was explicitly against regime change for a decade.
Yeah, that's certainly what he said. I think most of the rumors that he was July last month.
The first actually he was under pressure to do that because he didn't, and then he spent his campaign in the 2024 race arguing against regime change in favor of this one. And then he lost. And so watched but became this enthusiastic tool of the individual. So maybe those are all the changes of heart. I think
One more thing before I get your phone calls. We have seen a massive political earthquake happening. And not just Congress, but governors, Congress having a investigation of Congress hearing the USS Liberty 59 years after the anniversary. And he used that book because it was a false flag and it was wrong. Herbert Israel Day, I think, supposed to be forever. But now we bring more pressure on Israel. And they're lobbying, and this false flags are right up there in Howard Valley. You get the idea of false flags right from the line. You take that foot away from the goodness, inside of government. And it also then puts pressure on all this legislation under CDA, but 14 other pieces that all have basically the same wording of turning military and all the Israelis integrating, using, synchronizing, these are all words. Synchronizing, integrating, using, coordinating, it's everything. It's unbelievable. So here's the yesterday on the 50th anniversary of the decorated ship.
And the next day, on June 8th, they started the day. The visibility was unlimited. The American flag was flying proudly on the USS Liberty. More planes came from Israel to surveil the ship. And they thought they were in good shape, but what happened next surprised them all. French barrage jets showed up and for 25 minutes straight and attacked the USS Liberty. They shot rockets. They shot 30-millimeter cannons into the hull and into the ship. They even dropped napalm on the bridge of the ship. This was an effort to kill everybody on board. There was no intention of taking prisoners. After the 25 grueling minutes of attack on this virtually unarmed ship, they thought things were over. They could recover. The torpedo boats showed up. 3 torpedo boats. They launched 4 torpedoes. One of them hit the hull of the USS Liberty and killed 25 people instantly. It blew a 40-foot by 40-foot hole in the side of the ship. They were intent on sinking it. But they were also intent on not having a single survivor. According to eyewitness accounts, the Israelis machine gunned the lifeboats that they put down. They machine gunned the firefighters who were on the deck. They were bringing the wounded and the dead to the mess hall to triage them. They had one doctor who was trying to help them all, put a few stitches in. It was harrowing, and it's amazing. If not for that crew, that boat would have sunk that day. But it still wasn't over. Helicopters showed up, combat helicopter. And the USS Liberty, even though their signals were being jammed by the Israelis, got a signal out. And there were ships that tried to respond. The USS Saratoga, the USS America sent planes. Both of them sent planes to help the USS Liberty. And something happened that's never happened before. Ship under attack. The planes were recalled. This has never happened before. And they sat there for 17 hours. 34 dead. 174 wounded. Out of 294 crew members. That's over 70% casualty rate. Unheard of. The Israelis were intent on leaving no survivors. And what about our own military? Why did they not send anybody for 17 hours to help these men? So what really happened? You know, the official reports say that it was a case of mistaken identity. But if you listen to Dean Rusk, former Secretary of State, Richard Helms, CIA Director, Bobby Ray Inman, head of the NSA, Captain Ward Boston, who is the chief counsel of the Court of Inquiry. If you listen to Admiral Moore, who served in Pearl Harbor, Midway, commanded both the Atlantic and Pacific Fleet, and was chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, none of these distinguished men think this was an accident. They think it was intentional murder by the country of Israel, either as a false flag operation or because they simply didn't want anybody observing what they were doing that day. Well, I've got a call to action for everybody here. Honor these individuals. Quit ignoring that they exist. Go to their website, ussliberty.org. Support them. And while they're still alive, they need closure. Let's give them closure. Let's have an investigation. Let's pass a resolution honoring them. It's long overdue. And then they can have their job. That, I yield back. And I ask unanimous consent to enter into the record declaration of George Boston declaring that the only official court of inquiry was invalid.
When you look at what the U.S. government Israel did to cover up U.S. authority, it's insane. It's on the front end. I'm very excited about this. We got big news stories 2 years ago now. And I said, listen, here's the highest rated water filters out there. We're looking at 40 or 50 brands of gravity filters. I'll roll them out. It's small and it's tiny. I said, here's the highest ratings. Here's what I want. I've noticed that past sponsors we had were releasing quality today. And I said, I've not had a water filter that we sell in a couple of years. I said, here's the specs I want. Go to the top factories. Do this. It took them 2 years. All of it was the best quality stainless steel and standard and on it. 3-gallon gravity fed, double carbon filter, and major chemical testing company. Fact sheets here, they're posted to us quickly. And the ultimate for this baby is hands down. They don't go to party yet. That's what I would say. It has the very best rated double carbon filtering. Gravity fed. And it is hands down the nicest stainless steel and quality plastic shipping with cold water. This is hands down the best gravity fed filter out there. And folks, they sell at the big camping stores. So all day for $400. Stupid has the highest rated bottle from Poker. Stainless steel needs speed up. I mean, when this came in last week, I was like, what in the world? And the overhead shot wheels. Yeah. Testing similar to ultimate. The testing on it. The report on it. It's how it works from last year. That was just the years ago. And the report here, NSF International study for all the government certifications. Evaluation report. NSF International. You can see it. All the fragrance chemicals that the United States, the atrazine, undetectable, 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 undetectable. I'm gonna shoot some official this soon. These babies are stand up for first line because they are expensive and a limited line. But you mark something 100%. Everybody else marks up their stuff 100 to 200%. And they're not doing it, okay? This filter, not as good as $4 in stores, get a deal for $350. Ladies and gentlemen, Hub and Gas. You can get this right now. This is for $550 discount. Regular price, $299. But for our launch, it's only $229. And for VIP members, 100 days free. You know what? I said, we're going to make $40 on this. And it's a question that we're doing it. September, the quarter, 10,000. These are going to go. Look, just before you guys, people that don't focus they can just get me 20,000, 100,000. These will fund the whole network, all the hosts, everybody. And then people will be getting, you just put this on your counter in your kitchen or your living room, your business. It's beautiful. You just get tap water, you can put slot water in there, puts everything in. Emergency cold water, whatever. And it comes out as clean as it gets, folks. Yeah, this is insane. Well, you guys have to gravity fed water. It's not happening. It's a big part of this world. It's the best gravity fed filter in the world. Future filters, I don't know, this is bad. I'm so impressed. Great job. I said, years. I want a highest rated stainless steel filter. They came out and looked at us. See all these grades? They used to look like this. And they get cheap and now they go to this. And then, you know, on and on. This baby is as good as it gets. And it funds its operation and the price is $483 for VIPs. Insanely good. Insanely good. Take advantage of it now. TheLSNStore.com. And I'm going to shoot some professional ads, right? Show you blow-ups of the documents and go over it all and explain it all. In fact, I told the guys, I know they're going to get, I want all this data. I'm ready for something. I'm really proud of this. I'm really proud of Big League. I can literally say this is the best gravity fed filter out there. Unbelievable. Best quality. Construction, best filters, highest rated. This baby's got it all. But these other companies, they get cheap. They keep the filters good, but the outside and the container are ugly pieces of crap. And we actually had some sponsors years ago that we thought this is 1 hour of the week. Also, is the flagship. Today, 50% off. This is the strongest. This is the horse milk. This is the 2 top, highly rated spike protein, pro-cardiovascular formulas. They're safe to be put together. We just said, we'll just combine 2 best formulas into a horse pill. It's so good for your whole body. Remember that it's in the morning or looking better. You know what? It's amazing. You get it for 50% off right now, today, at yellowstonesstore.com. So be sure to take advantage of that right now. All right, so that's one of your calls. One thing like it. The same questions for Victor Booth. It's geopolitics, so you will be able to address it as well. So check for Booth coming up. But right now, let's go ahead and get one caller in. Who is up first here? Let's go to Jay in Texas. Jay, you're on the air. Welcome.
What up, Chanel? What up, Chanel? I was like, when's you have the
Last time I called, Francis Boyle was on, and I was the first person to blow the whistle on the phone.
Chanel, where were you at?
Everybody should go look, 7 papers. There's a paper in there called Pandemic. I need everybody to go read that document. I need national reporters to go look at it. I'm in the middle of the data centers out here, and I'm in one of Joel Scott's strategic relocation areas, and I'm putting up 3 of these data centers. So it's all the action for everybody. Those these data centers in the community, the city council, speak out against the minimal flow and what the community to do. And, you know, you mentioned Russia. It's just the first time I called for peace. I've been calling for peace every single week, but the message is suppressed. And it really just comes down to.
Hold on, I'll hold you over if you get 1 minute to follow the news and it's easier. And you can say whether you can put it in your forget. The United Nations are being put in a lot of these strategic relocation areas for actually safer and more facilities. They're going to use these as globalist corporate government and man-based as land grabs. And that's a big point that they made, but we really don't know what Vault 7 is being come from Bible. Vault 7 was Edward Snowden, one of the big CIA documents he released, with all the CIA, undercover computers, attacking us, false domain, and a bunch of other stuff. We were reading over the same section of who they tell. What is in Vault 7 secret NSA?
Okay, so the data set is so large and bulk that there are tens of millions of documents that human beings have never ever laid eyes on. So any one of you looks right now, every one of you looks right now, if you'll break a brand new sport of this document. Why the pandemic document is so important because it talks about, it's never hurt to show you and mention this, this is how nuclear this is, and they talk about cost rooms. This might be the first time you've ever heard that term. Continuity of operation, and basically a paper outlines that you're trying to essentially recruit your pages that will tell people.
This is key. This is COG commercial law takeover plan. Hour number 2, 2 minutes away. He has the very best, strongest leader. Who raised that plan? This is just a powerful force. Change the radio and for service. They call more users and look. So I told big guys, give me over the last radio. So they spent like 6 months. Where is it? I said, oh, this is a medical term in Florida. They don't sell this to human consumption. Oh, it makes great for that. Yeah, I mean, okay, great. So the bottles that are in the sector, they didn't have what they called the energy new was really good for $900. And so they started to celebrate it. Kennedy's promoted this 6 years ago. So I made it tomorrow. Oh, well, I haven't tried it yet. I would do it. And so the show ends, and I had a glass of iced tea, just like I do today. Okay? And I take 1 dropper and put it in the iced tea. And so I only drink half the iced tea. So I took half a dropper, and all of a sudden I'm like feeling warm, like especially in my hands. I'd forgotten I'd taken it. I've been from the show. And I go into the bathroom, I take my shirt off, and I turn red. And I'm like, hives. Like it was distributed. I'm already pretty canned. These canned Google, but the Americans, the benefits of that. But I was like even redder, and I was like, what is this? And I'm like, electricity. I go, oh, that's what people say Benjamin Blue does if it's really good. And I was like, and I started feeling so good. I was like, this is kind of scary. And about an hour into it, I go, I hope this stops because it was getting too good. I had to dare it. He took it and said, I'm scared of it. It's a man. So it's psychoactive everywhere. This is not a freaking man. Skips the oxygenation process, two steps of the cells, and all this other wild stuff. And so I met with Dr. 6, 7 years ago, and it was this state. It was at like 5, 6, 7, 8 degrees. He said, and by the way, I want you to get methylene blue, USB grade, just get it forever. Just make sure it's USB grade, meaning it's medical grade. And I ordered it and tried it and really didn't feel any energy when you know, Well, we get so we get the I tell you this, and it is nothing like anything like that. I mean, it is strong. It's amazing. It's just like Rick told me with the that it would crackle my skin. Those liver spots I had, you can go back to shows 14 years ago before Rick came on, and you can see those spots. They're gone, baby. Gone. Literally gone. It's amazing. Within 2 weeks of taking that one liver, the guy at the was like, hey, are you on something? Did you get the steroid prescription or something? I was like, no, what's going on? You lose weight even quicker. You said trouble with 10 pull-ups, and you just did 20, and you're like pushing on the leg press. Twice when you were looking up, what the hell's going on, dude? Below it. And Sean Johnson told the story that his company blew. He's from Madison, Wisconsin. He took it in his testimony. 30 minutes all sit down. It's crazy. This stuff really works. Now, you first have a crazy effects like this. You always feel the energy soon, but as a full time, inside the tunnels, you have to really notice it. The first time you take it, I say take a quarter dropper, talk to your physician too, because if you're on SSRIs or some other drugs, it'll make you jump off a building. I mean, people have taken Beverly Blue, and they're on Prozac, and they jump off the building. That's rare. Usually women just pull their clothes off and start having orgies and stuff. I don't know steroids. Okay, so you're like, you want to go cuckoo town? Take this with SSRIs, you're going to cuckoo town. Because that's how strong this is. Okay? That's what this does. And we know it's good for you. But this is not a joke, okay? I don't sell crap. The crew's trying to pull up with me. I remember reading this when I wrote, what show, 12 years ago, whatever. And it was COG, spying on people, doing cyber attacks, spoofing, blaming the Russians, the Chinese, stuff like that. And I remember the pandemic section dealing with lockdowns, new government being kicked in. Slow, because the crew's still looking. Where's the last place you found the Vault 7 document? On the WikiLeaks website? I know that was down there.
Yes, it is still on the WikiLeaks website, still in Vault 7. So, Pandemic is its own book, per se. It's not even like a section, it's its own book on how to do the pandemic. And
well, tell us real slow so we can pull it up. There it is. So you go to the WikiLeaks website, and you type in,
find Vault 7.
Yeah, there it is. There's Vault 7. Okay, now start over with what you were specifically talking about.
Bruh, why the fuck they gonna try to get me? You know damn well I'm not always on the game type.
Actually funded and created COVID-19 at Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
Yeah, they bullshit.
So tell us why this is important.
This is the Rosetta key to the whole thing. There is no pandemic. They announce it on the media. You go to their website that describes the pandemic. Then you go to the other government website that describes what the police are supposed to do. The word ConOps rooms have everything to do with reference, with just a new name for a web page. So the Continuity Operations Room, when you go to the web page, it tells you about the pandemic. That's the room you're in. And so they're just transferring people around, narrative architecturing people like
yeah, they tell you in the SPARS 2025, that was the war it was written a couple years before the pandemic. It's all the same posts for Twitter. They just changed the name and then actually use those exact posts as a rollout plan for hysteria. You think you're going to the government fusion center, a CDC data center, and really you're just being given press releases, pre-programmed, written by the CIA, and written by things in the Disease Act tabletop files of Event 201 before that Operation Lockstep, so.
Yes, America is the camel, pulling us like a needle through the keyhole into the next. So it's not even just about what the people are going to be brainwashing. It's like, okay, now that you're the new government, this is everything that's going to happen, and this is all the power you're going to be given. You'll remember that Israeli guy on media recently saying, we need to keep people off of social media for authenticity. I get the X recently. Guess what they listed it for? Authenticity. I appeal to the stuff. They don't care. You know who followed me 3 days before that meeting? The public. So, any other people to just go to the council, be important in the community, speak out against these things. Like I'm just continually kept off social media. So, you refer to me before doing a better reporter like that. I'm just saying, getting off the head of those marches and wrong calls. So, anyway, long story short, there was no rush conclusion, but there are new court cases that we pleaded soon. So, what do you think about that?
Well, you're dead on. I remember scanning over that time, but I had forgotten that was the Vault 7 documents. It's all mirrored in lockstep 2010 until 2019. And they insisted we're going to use the disease X for readiness control. So we're going to treat pandemic report in 2014, and it linked to 2017, 10 years ago. Thank you for the performance. No, they don't deny this is real. I remember reading the definition, and it mirrored Event 201, which is also written by the CIA and Gates, we basically updated Operation Lockstep. Amazing job. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. Take your book to talk about this. We'll talk about the latest on Russia, Ukraine, Iran, the Israeli inflation, the Pentagon now open the war now, and more things are coming to a head. Stay with us. And we're all of you. Share that feed from us. Run it says down and Rumble. Rumble.com. Go to Trumpet. We have a good show.
What?
Listen on Tuesday, June 9th, 2026 transmission. If your boat is our gas prices joining us first Tuesdays. Again, we'll be here. And this guy is a very famous business. Also, was a 6-year political prisoner. You can listen to my show. He was in radio. And so he's a friend of the show. He's circles and accurate, but really insightful. And so I want to get into just the update last week, where we are. Really planned, Disney planned. He was on last Tuesday. But the Pentagon, the Defense Intelligence Agency, and the two other ones, clearly, this isn't like a few people, this was the official report that we learned actually came out 3 weeks ago. Then they leaked it, and confirmed no, we released it right away from the White House. Now, Trump also leaked it 2 weeks ago as well. And Yahoo told us that he told Yahoo Sunday, if you don't want to work for 6 foot, we're going to cut you loose and not even give you a good deal with that, and you're going to be able to run. That doesn't take away from Trump's mistakes. I'm going to take this facelift for Trump. Every time I talk about this, I see the comments. Why are you saying Trump's good now? He's horrible. That's not what I'm saying. We want to end these books. And he got somebody in here or sucked into this, and he gets something that and gets on the off ramp. That's a good thing. This isn't about Trump. And I never would have thought that weird anomaly, he said this was comments, about making it about, oh no, the war's going to continue for Trump's evil. We don't want him to do something good because we hate Trump. It has nothing to do with Trump in the wider scale. It has to do with all of us. Now, Russia's been trying to have peace the whole time. I have seen people started really bombarding the back and intensifying and threatening to go whole hog. But that was only for the least eating each other, each other. Even the inside baseball on that, I don't know what's happening there. Victor Boot, who is a regional leader and obviously a political insider in Russia, a lot of these are months before it comes out. You give us his take on that. It's also a free-for-all in geopolitics. Any of these issues where you have callers holding, open the phones up for everybody right now. We'll put the number up on the screen. Your questions or statements for Victor Boot, because it's all tied together. 512-266-0642. If you're outside the United States, the U.S. country code, 512-266-0642. But you cannot overstate. This is for the first time since Israel was founded in 47, 48. that you've had three of the military's intelligence agencies, basically the three that deal with counterintelligence, all of them, that deal with counterintelligence, coming out and saying Israel is now the number one threat to our national security. They have a, quote, unhinged, full court press, human intelligence, signals, spying, breaking into everything, sex operatives, whole 9 yards. They got their 8-front war, demonizing, attacking domestic journalists, coming after people. I'm telling you, they're getting ready to do false flags. That's not the report, but you know the Pentagon knows that. So to have the Pentagon come out and do this shows that they understand how dire this is to our national security. And what's crazy is we found out 2 weeks ago about the NDAA, or a week and a half ago, that integrates everything into the military intelligence. Now you find 14 other bills that have the same wording in it. And these bills are progressing to the full House and Senate. They're out of committee. So Israel knows that we're starting to wake up and pull away, so they're doing a full internal bureaucratic palace coup here, and that signals they're going to rogue. And so Trump is getting more hardline with Netanyahu a little bit. The question is that for real? I think it is, because the poll numbers are in the toilet. Everybody's turning against Trump. He said everybody hates Israel now as Netanyahu. He wants to blame Netanyahu. Great, fine. He does get the most blame. You get 2 Trump. It's not about, we can figure out the bad guys later. I just want to end this. So, Victor, that's kind of a gestalt I threw out. People can follow you on X at Real Victor Book. We'll put it on screen. Thank you for being here with us. You can tackle all that that's interconnected wherever you want, enter into that, and give us your analysis. Thanks for being here.
Okay, great, and greetings from Moscow. So let's start. You're absolutely right. What's going on with Iran is really, and Israel becoming basically just in center in front of every problem we have. It's not only that they're spying on your officials at your intelligence community are worried about the Mossad more than they're worried about anybody else, but nevertheless, first problem that Israel is now, and especially Netanyahu, trying to stall all attempts, at least to stop and get the solution and reopen Hormuz Strait, because it's damaging economy of entire world. And it's consequential because it's not only oil which is interrupted, but it's also fertilizer, which already start affecting even farmers in America. And accordingly, the recent news, even inflation in America starts to picking up, and it's really, really bad sign. Either Netanyahu knows very well that the global is preparing a huge reset for the autumn, kind of the huge financial crisis, where it would be, pandemic crisis and the 2009, 2008 financial crisis combined. They're talking about the new, Great Depression, or the Great Depression has to be started, because for globalists, it's only way, because they basically understand their time is over and they need to do something. This is the last day chance. Same true for the Netanyahu. If we analyze and see why Netanyahu is so belligerent, well, because look, if he starts the war, he will go basically for prosecution and prison. So for him, keeping this endless war and having America finance this war is the only way to stay on power, or at least stay out of jail. So this would be a tough political decision in White House administration, knowingly that the Israeli lobby is going to push everything to keep Israel afloat, still pay all the bills, provide them with all necessary assistance, help them to destroy whatever was damaged during the Iranian attacks. And Netanyahu says, okay, look, I have to play through and look for where I will see the chance, how I can stay in the power, how I can, fool everybody else again. But the threats and why the Trump, I was thinking, why did Trump start to leak information to Axios while he was shouting on Netanyahu when he was the reason why they then started attacking the Israel against tension? Well, eventually, as I said, this is only way he can keep the power, keep the game going on, take it further. By the way, just about half an hour, this was very interesting news, which happens. There was a $3 billion from Abu Dhabi to Exxon is payment of Iranian sources attack on Israel. Think of this. And apparently it's not America for giving this tribute and all, it's Israel. I don't know if it's true. It needs to be verified, but it's already several sources, not only Mario Nafal, but it's also Iran Observer, who was
Well,
waiting.
Mario Fall is a very, very excellent source. He's the real deal. So let's pull up Mario Fall's website. Absolutely. So things are moving very quickly. I want to say something to the listeners. You're not just saying stuff. The globalists, the Club of Rome, the WEF, they all admit the EU's demographics, the old order, they're in the worst position. Then you've got all their other globalist systems that are basically falling apart because of their actions and behaviors. And that whether they like it or not, there's going to be a multipolar world that won't just break into two poles, but three or four, which I like decentralization and real competition.
You're not getting that shit now. You're not getting that. Nobody getting that, man. Nobody getting that shit. Sorry, man. Go ahead.
Listen, and you're right. They say, those that don't look it up, their only business plan is total war totalitarianism to clamp down the domestic population. Remember, historically, big imperial wars are usually about quelling uprisings and problems domestically. Okay? So people have to understand that this Iran war, even bigger than Iran being the target, was the economy of the world for BlackRock, who's celebrating because they want everybody to go bankrupt so they can use economic warfare to take over. Their old Ponzi scheme's coming to an end. They need a global war to be able to force their new ESG, central bank digital currency system, over the world, to be able to shut down the BRICS. At the end of the day, this is all about propping up the old globalist empire and having it come out of its cocoon as this demonic, fire-breathing dragon that basically consumes the whole world in a digital straitjacket. So I just wanted to elaborate and say you're absolutely right.
Correct. This is, right direction, what you say. Moreover, look at the situation, what happened last week. The St. Petersburg was a St. Petersburg Economic Forum, which is like Russian Davos style. And the Putin was also having a very lengthy speech. And then before he was answering on the question of the heads of the news industry of the world, including the Western one. Think of this. He invited those who usually never said anything good about Russia, just to make sure they can ask their sharp question, and he was answering. The most funny part was, think of this. This was a very interesting news which Putin broke, that there is one of the Russian oligarchs or businessmen, like the name, was invited to go to Kiev and discuss some issues. So finally, when he came to the, and he contacted the Putin to say, look, they invited me to go there, and eventually there would be talk about some peace deal, what I should do. But Putin said, I cannot really, commission you for this mission because there is a people who specially trained, there is a Minister of Foreign Affairs, there is a Minister of Defense who need to be involved in this negotiation. But okay, whatever they have, go and listen to what's going to happen. So this was basically set up a trap. First of all, Zelensky then publicly published his open letter to Putin, calling him for the direct meeting to stop the war, claiming that, hey, we need to stop this war between us, we don't need to bring in America, which was a sharp rebuke to the Trump, and eventually was kind of the, PR stand just to get, again, back to the world opinion. So Putin was said, look, why I need to meet with this, basically, expired president of Ukraine? There is nothing to discuss. It should be, everything should be discussed before we can meet to settle something. But then the question, if he is legitimate one, if he do not have a power by the Constitution to sign an agreement, what would be the value of his signature of this document? But then think of these Ukrainians, instead of, okay, try to use at least diplomacy, not the megaphone, diplomacy, to negotiate these very sensitive issues. Well, Zelensky said, okay, he revealed the name of this businessman, and it was Abramovich, who went to Kiev, and apparently Zelensky, tried to force him to pay money to him, about $2.5 billion, which he earned from selling the football club in England, which named Chelsea. So this is a scandal by itself, just showing that the Ukrainians also, like globalists, because they have this plan, their project, in the panic mode, because they understand their timeline is about to be finished. Not only that the Kremlin decides and launch hypersonic attack and eventually will kill the Zelensky, not this, but they are basically in strategic position where we cannot win, and they just will face defeat, and this defeat will only give the possibility either to surrender, if they don't understand that they have a still last chance to negotiate.
Victor, you answered my question. I'll let you elaborate. usually got a good idea. But Zelensky normally is very belligerent. As you said, he comes up and says, "Oh, I want to meet with the United Americans. We need to fix this." And then Putin, I know who's starting to really use the stick, was like, "I want to meet too." Well, even though he obviously knows Zelensky's always deceptive, or is Zelensky being halfway truthful? And you said, no, it's another PR move. But at the same time, Ukraine is collapsing. They admit they are. And under more attacks, they're going to fully fold, I would say, very quickly. So what is Zelensky's exit window? I mean, if I was him, I'd just take my money and run.
Well, for him, he's looking for the best opportunity. He's still dreaming that if he will wait till the November election in the United States, when the Trump lose the majority and become really in position where his friend Democrat or globalist go back and will block his decision, and then he eventually will watch how he can negotiate his safe exit or safe run out. But unfortunately, his none are left because his buddy in Europe are basically in the same position, whether we're talking about the trio of the President Macron, Steiner of the Great Britain, and the Schulz, Chancellor Schulz in Germany. They both are so unpopular that between three of them, it will be hardly a 50% rating. So now these three invited Zelensky into London to negotiate what we're going to do, how we can pull it out, so all of us stay in power. And eventually, these people will do all the tricks, and that's why they also belligerently supporting Ukraine, calling the Europe to go to war against Russia, because for them there is only one way to stay in power. And this is the moment when democracy already been dead, and these people now are planning the coup to declare dictatorship. And this group who was elected, basically, now will turn this democracy or republic into nightmare dictatorship.
And if you look at Zelensky, years and years, no elections, a dictator, even his whole political opposition, banning Orthodox Russian Church, the founded Ukraine and Russia, all of that. Now Netanyahu is using that same tactic to stay in power. It's so dangerous. And from my sources, is watching Trump and knowing he was a leader confirmed now and now public statements against Netanyahu, I think legitimately he understands that and was conned into believing the Villas would fall quickly and be this great victory. He was high off the Maduro capture. Now he says on the way back, we're going to take out Cuba. So he wants that consolation prize. And I think the CIA might pull a Bay of Pigs 2.0 on him. I want to revisit that with you in a moment and see where you think the Ukraine situation is going, because nobody's been as accurate as you've been with the bad news. Turns out last night, on the anniversary of the USS Liberty false flag attack, it was coordinated with President Johnson, but he blamed on Egypt. That's reported declassified. Under the chairman of the Joint Staff before he died, and his advocate generals who saw the classified material, where they planned to sink the ship, but the Israelis couldn't sink it despite torpedoes and thousands of holes and cannons and rockets and everything else, and napalm. I was saying yesterday, I wonder if Israel will do a false flag on the anniversary. Well, Iran is not taking credit. An Apache helicopter on the Strait of Hormuz got shot down. The pilots were saved. This is just now breaking. Trump says U.S. must respond after Iran shoots down helicopter over Strait of Hormuz. Iran has, we can't find a statement yet. It's not taking credit for it. So Israel every time has gone in and hit Lebanon, hit other areas, hit Iran. Every time there's a peace deal, Trump said, don't do it again. And then is Trump going to just buy this? Why would the Iranians, now I know their forces are compartmentalized, so I'm not going to say some Iranian with a missile might not take a pot shot at the Apache, but this has to be investigated as a potential false flag because of the timing. Victor Book.
Well, first of all, this is not first time. Most probably a false flag attack, because Iranians very accurate when they doing something, they immediately putting and said we shot down this, we shot down that, and it was never any exaggeration in their report.
And they always say we just fired missiles, and it turned out even in some of the Arab countries they say we don't think these drones came out of Iran 2 weeks ago, and remember the false flag 2 weeks ago on Russia with the drones.
The recent attack, it was on the also the where it was in Qatar, I guess, when this was a direct hit into the center used for logistics for military anti-question, and if you have another one, because when they attack, including even data centers, including the banks belonging to the United States and United Arab Emirates, or other facilities, they would be always, openly saying, yes, this is was our target, we hit it, and this is how and why we did it. But when the Israelis using and blame on them something to do, or some other forces, that's eventually 100% qualifying like a false-like attack. And then, we hope that the at least Trump administration will take really, serious attention to that matter, investigate. The president says, no, they didn't shut down the Apache helicopter. That's probably so, because Iranians are not interested in escalation. And believe me, they just be forced to answer. And this was the recent attack on Israel was only way to bring the attention that the Israelis, despite the agreement, that they have a ceasefire, including Lebanon, are still keeping bombing and killing every day people in Lebanon, including children, just, flattening areas like in Gaza, in the southern Lebanon.
I agree. We'll get to that. We'll get to Israel's war crimes next segment. That's important to review. But unfortunately, we got video this week on Hack. We'll get to it right now. Trump says U.S. must respond after Iran shoots at a helicopter on the Strait of Hormuz. And you got Afghan channels saying, oh, yeah, Iran did it. You follow those channels. It's connected back to Vault 7 type behavior. So just because you see something on X doesn't mean it's true. Here's a short excerpt. Trump just has bought it so far. It looks like he's taking the bait here. But this is just perfect timing. I'm not saying it's a false flag, but all evidence points towards it. And Victor, you said a few weeks ago that attack that they said Russia did with the drone turned out they had to back off. Now they don't know where the drone came from. So expect a lot more of this. Let's go to this clip of the president. Here it is.
President Trump says American helicopter pilots are safe this morning after an Apache gunship went down near the Strait of Hormuz.
The pilots are fine, yeah.
And what?
Nobody injured. We are going to issue a report tomorrow, but the pilots are fine.
This morning, U.S. Central Command saying the helicopter went down while it was, quote, patrolling regional waters, and that the soldiers were rescued within 2 hours and are in stable condition. Apache helicopters are part of the U.S. military's presence in the Persian Gulf, where Iran and the U.S. are in a blockade standoff, with Iran blocking the Strait of Hormuz and the U.S. blocking access to Iran's ports, turning back and disabling ships. The competing closures are driving up oil prices. President Trump says the American one is working to pressure Iran to make concessions.
The blockade continues to hold.
Let's stop there. We're going to come back from break with Victor Boot. Follow him on X at Real Victor Boot. It's important to add again, we've been checking, the Iranians have not taken credit. The Afghanistan Army, whatever that is, says just in media claims the IRGC has shot down a U.S. AH-64 Apache helicopter on the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. sources confirmed an Apache went down to the area, but the cause remains unclear. Reports indicate all crew members were successfully rescued. Now, Trump late last night made that statement, but then there was no coverage until about 30 minutes ago. Now it's everywhere that Iran did it. Iran is silent from what we've seen. We're going to try to find out, but this is all very suspicious on the anniversary of the USS Liberty, which is a confirmed Israeli false flag, in coordination with LBJ. Really, Operation Northwoods 2.0 to blame Egypt and Russia. They want to go to full war with Russia. That's just happens over and over. You can read that. Alex Jones is on right now. Taking me off the air. It is the only thing that you continue to spread the word about the podcast. Continue to support.
It's usually matters most to have people in the corner who don't touch. We've been a partner of this program and of Alex's for a long time.
Ice water in the Sahara. It is such the top-rated, the biggest company, because they're the best, and he's a patriot.
We're not going anywhere. Here's the part that matters. With us, it's 8% when you buy and 0% when you sell. And here's something else. If you make a great purchase and become a client, all the metals you bought somewhere else, and no commission. That means even if you did your research private from us, we'll still take care of it. That's not a promotion. It's not something that's just the way we do business. Give us a call and we'll bend over backwards to help you.
Visit kepm.com/gold to get started, or give us a call at 720-605.
It's a red false flag.
South. And here's something that's from
720-605-3000. Get your boots on.
Wagner. Buddy. You said this.
Daddy, where you going, Daddy? Daddy, where you going, Daddy? Daddy, give Janelle a kiss, Daddy. Give Janelle a kiss, Daddy. Janelle, give Daddy a kiss. Give Daddy a kiss, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Be nice, man. Be nice, man. Be nice, Janelle. Okay, Janelle. I see you give Daddy a kiss. Okay. Okay, good job, Janelle. Good job, Janelle. Daddy, will you kiss for Janelle, Daddy? Daddy, come on, now, Daddy. Come on, now, Daddy. Give Janelle a kiss, man. Give Janelle a kiss, man. Janelle. Janelle. Let Daddy give you a kiss, Janelle. Buddy, buddy, you trying to get in on this, buddy? Buddy, you trying to get in on this, buddy? You gonna give Janelle a kiss too, man? Janelle, you better give Buddy a kiss too. You better give Buddy a kiss too, Janelle. You better give Buddy a kiss too, Janelle. Daddy, give Janelle a kiss, Daddy. Give Janelle a kiss, Daddy. Come on, Daddy. Come on, Daddy. Come on, Daddy. Daddy.
Who is it, Daddy? Is somebody in there, Daddy? Or is nobody? Is it nobody, Chanel? Chanel, is nobody? Hopefully you get on chocolate and you'll be sick, you know? Definitely don't want to be sick. You definitely don't want to be sick, you know? Buddy, if you ain't nobody there, what you working at? You better let's get you from the right. Buddy seeing things. Buddy seeing things. Buddy seeing things, Chanel. Buddy seeing things. Chanel, buddy seeing things, Chanel. Chanel, buddy seeing things. Yeah,
Everybody seeing things, Chanel. I did what it is. I did what it is. you doing over there, buddy? Buddy, what you doing over there, man? Why you ain't come and get in on this, buddy? Why you ain't come and get in on this, buddy? Yeah, Chanel, yeah, but I gotta do some stuff too, Chanel. I gotta do some more stuff real quick. Man. Buddy, you should have came and got in on this, man. Should have came and got in on this, buddy. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. Bro, what the fuck? Chanel, get out the way, buddy. Trying to get some water. Buddy, you trying to get some water, or you just trying to come over here and chill? Buddy, you sure already came over here, though, buddy. I'm about to play the game, man. I'm about to play the game, buddy. But there's water in there if you want some water, buddy. There's water in there if you want some water, buddy. Just go past, buddy. Just go past, buddy. Chanel ain't gonna do nothing to you. Yeah. Right, Chanel? Come on, Chanel. You can't lay in the way, Chanel. You gonna have to move out the way, Chanel. Come on, now. Come on, Chanel. You gotta move out the way a little bit. Come on, Chanel. You gotta move out the way a little bit. At least over here.
Pragmatically, what freedom of thought is going to be used. And let me be clear, Zelensky's been caught in 100 false flags. And it's actually been to react to one. They've gone up all sorts of pipelines, not just Nord Stream, Russians. They fired missiles repeatedly into Poland in full strength. They intercepted tail numbers. But the Ukrainians don't even lose their tail numbers. Or the Russians on the damn missile. And they'll say, no, the Russians did it. NATO won. This man was free. Perfect. And so, all a few issues going into one of the countries. Russia instantly enforced it. So it should be a great force. It's true. And the country shows he didn't come out of there. He was out of the same country. and a launching project. Alcoa was formed. This is the first of the day. I guess we will have the human point, 10% of resources. Thanks for it. Particularly, you have to back up these attacks. They talk this like the children, you don't know this. So now this helicopter situation, the anniversary of US Liberty, they sat on it on the politician until 45 minutes ago. And they're told, and they better get ahead of this. They'll have a communication shut off, and this side shut off, so they need to be clear about this because coming against them, say, week against that, this is all fine. You have to get back smart. You know, plans on the right temperature, Elon Musk wants to look at the Research Project. It is a definiteness masquerading as confidence and vigorous in Pittsburgh or just county, nothing that knows. He has a portrait beside his name, Slinky Dick, because he was some stealing shell instead of letting with a smartphone, 35,000, 50 phones, they killed hundreds of churches, shrines blown up. I mean, in Israel, right in front of the history of Palestine, one of the largest Christian protesting calls. Is there any way you think the pressure on the psychotics from Israel to get them to deviate from this fight? Continue. Usually, very interesting between Zelensky and Netanyahu. Not only the same ethnicity, being belonging to the Jewish people, but also basically very similar pattern of behavior instead of coming forward and be straightforward. Do something, one of the make a bunch of goals for this dirty tricks, trying to think that they can outsmart the entire world. Well, similarly, they have to be responsible for what they're doing and choose this administrative pretty quick. Only solution, I guess, that as soon as the United States understand that Israel becomes too toxic, even not only for international relations, but even for the domestic agenda in the United States, despite all the pro-Israeli lobby and the politics where the Israelis is shows in the United States, finally we will stop all the assistance without which Israel cannot just physically exist. And then now either they change the government, come to their senses, and really go and try to settle for peace with their neighbors without the strength of the great Israel, because look, it's very, very important. How come that the Jewish state, Israel, for us, since 1949 year of existence, never been able to negotiate a proper peace with their neighbors. And it was 3 wars, okay, since that, but even with the Abrahamic Accord, which is Trump also supports for that administration, apparently the closest